Many of us have dealt with enemies in the past, and if you haven't already, you're probably going to deal with them in the future. And in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips that I use personally that help me to deal with some of my enemies. First of all, I want to let you know that enemies are actually people that love you. They just express love in hatred, right? They just show love in a different way. They show love in a different form. So you got to realize that if someone really hates you, they don't hate you. They're not really haters. They actually want to help you. They just don't know how to express it. So one thing I'd like to remember is that critics make you do it better, but haters make you do it faster. Because haters are actually lovers that just don't know how to express it. So follow these 4 tips if you want to learn how to crush your enemies and how to deal with them successfully. The first tip is to be direct. There's so many people that are nitpickers and small brainers, and they have certain ways of analyzing your situation, and many times they have no reason to do so. So what you have to do is be direct. You have to confront them and help them realize that they might not be telling the truth, or if they are, tell them that you're actually willing to make a change, but let them know that you don't like the way that they're saying it. You see, the fact is that haters allow you to adjust along the course, because sometimes your friends and family, people that have an affinity toward you, cannot tell you in exact ways that an enemy can. So the universe sends you an enemy so you can realize this, and so you have to be direct. You have to confront them and just let them know that you understand and that you're going to make the change if a change needs to be made. When you're confronting an enemy, make sure you're very kind about it, because it's easy to answer an insult with an insult. If someone calls you an idiot, I'm sure you probably want to call them an idiot too. Maybe they have no credence for what they're saying, but they're trying to say something, and you have to understand what they're saying and be compassionate. Understand where they're from. You know, they're living a life of hate or maybe a life of jealousy, and they're trying to stop you, but remember that no weapon formed against you will ever prosper. So actually congratulate them, be kind, because if you're kind to your enemies, it will help them to disintegrate like sugar in water. Remember that enemies can come in all different forms. They could be your neighbors, they could be your friends, we call them frenemies. They could be people at your school, people at your church, people that you work with. They can even be within your own family. Imagine that, even your extended family. So even though you might have to deal with these people on a consistent basis, and they may act friendly like you, but they're actually twisting a knife in your back, you've got to realize that you can only love these people, right? You can only show kindness to them, because if you do, eventually they're going to evaporate, and you're going to be able to live your life successfully, and they're going to move on. So confront them and let them know that you know what they're up to, because sometimes they'll stop doing what they're doing and they'll change their antics, and you'll be free on your own way. Now, the second way to deal with these enemies, these haters, is to put on a poker face. Is to not show them that you are affected by what they say or what they do or how they act. And sometimes you want to do this with people that you're dealing with temporary. You know, if you're only dealing with someone once or twice or once in a while, put on a poker face, right? Just act cool. Right? Don't show them your emotion. Don't come out of character. It's easy to just freak out and be emotional, but just be cool. Be cool, calm, and collective. And you'll realize that they'll eventually walk away, because they can't read your face. They can't read your reactions, and that will help you to deal with your enemies more strategically. When you put on a poker face, it kills your enemies, because they realize that you're unaffected by their tactics. And a lot of times they'll keep on trying and trying, and they'll try to prod their way in. They'll try to poke you, they'll try to agitate you, they'll try to push your buttons, but don't let it happen. Keep up that poker face. Be a little stiff. Don't show them that you're affected, and eventually they are going to leave you alone. The third technique for dealing with enemies is to simply ignore them. Sometimes the enemy is in our own minds. Sometimes we think we have friction or tension at one place, but it's actually us. You know, sometimes what we see in others is what we see in ourselves. What we see in other people is actually what we're manifesting in our own lives. And sometimes that's what we need to change. So simply ignore them and realize that, they're going to go on in their own way. They're going to go pick on someone else. And you're going to move on, and you're going to become better, because you simply ignored the problem. You haven't expended all your energy in trying to deal with this certain situation. Remember that a lot of your haters are secretly your fans. They want you to succeed, but they just don't know how to express it. So even though they're begging for your attention, sometimes you gotta ignore them. Maybe a quick acknowledgement here and there might get them too fired up where they begin to bother you. So ignoring them might be the strategy that you need to use on these kinds of people. The fourth tip is so simple that it's ridiculous, but it's to succeed. Frank Sinatra once said that the best revenge is massive success. You see, the fact is that as you keep going up and you keep reaching higher levels, people are gonna fade away. And the people that used to bother you will have no shot at you because you keep on succeeding, you keep moving forward. And this is actually my favorite strategy because the people that used to give me a hard time would have no chance dealing with me today because I've succeeded and I keep on going and going and going. So keep on succeeding and forgive your enemies along the way because you will get your revenge if you keep on moving forward. Remember, nothing hurts your enemies more than forgiveness. And when you forgive your enemies and you let them go, you leave them behind, they're gonna remember you. You might forget them, which will most likely happen, but they're gonna remember you, and one day they're gonna reach out to you and say, you know, you've really helped me in the past, and I'm very thankful for you. And the funny thing is, like, some of my biggest enemies in the past are some of my biggest fans today. And that's just, you know, one of the things that gives me the greatest joy. So just keep on moving forward and just keep on succeeding. In summary, make sure you understand these 4 tips and realize that sometimes the enemy can also be ourselves. So look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe you might think everyone's against you or the world is conspiring to get you, but sometimes you just gotta face yourself. You know, you gotta deal with yourself. And sometimes you are your own enemy. So make sure that that isn't the case. And if it is the case, well, that's the best enemy to deal with because you can always deal with them successfully if you know exactly what to do. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, make sure you deal with your enemies, and make sure you leave a comment below. My friends, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.